We've been talking a lot this week and last week about all of the Guardians' young prospects. We've seen guys like Daniel Schneeman this year, Jonathan Rodriguez. We've seen Kyle Manzardo. We've seen Jhonk.
Thank you.
Jhonk Kinsey.
Noel.
You're killing everybody.
Jhonk Kinsey. Stop listening to McNugget.
No, it's Jhonk. Jhonk Noel. We've seen Angel Martinez, among others. When you look at all of these young prospects that we've seen, who's been the most impressive to you all so far?
Oh, make sure you put this in the YouTube chat so we can see what the viewers think. I know everyone's answer because I made the graphics. So, Tyvis, I'll let you start, and then we'll wrap because we all have different answers.
I had two answers.
And you can take both because Jason and I did not take either.
Really?
Yes. And you're wrong, by the way. Jason and I,
wrong?
yeah, your answers are the wrong one here. But tell us, who you got? Who's your most impressive Guardians prospect so far?
Y'all are sick.
You'll see why.
Jhonk Kinsey and Angel Martinez is the two that I went with. Jhonk Kinsey he looks like he's a big leaguer. He looks like he's been here. He's not afraid of the moment. The man comes in and hits home runs. He seems to be the guy that everybody kind of thought Kyle Manzardo would be. He just probably hit his stride a little bit earlier. Just very impressive. You never know what you're going to get with him. I know he needs some plate discipline and he swings crazy at times, but when he connects, more times than not, it's out of here. So that's been impressive. And then Angel Martinez and the little short stint that he's had, I mean, he's been consistent. I mean, he's getting on base. He's making the right hits. And he's a guy that I just kind of depend on. I kind of count on to know he's going to get on base and provide some runs there. So I've been very impressed with those two at the plate. In the field for Jhonk Kinsey, he need a little work. But outside of that, everything else is good. So I've been impressed with those two the most.
That's fine. I told Ant early this morning, I said, I don't want us to all have the same answer. So if someone else picked the right answer, I'll argue one of the wrong answers just to mix it up so that
Did you take the right answer?
I took the right answer.
Okay.
I was going to argue one of your wrong answers.
Oh, okay, cool.
But I took the right answer.
Okay.
The right answer on this is Hunter Gaddis, because what was expected of him, if the question is the most impressive, what was expected of him and where he's at, he wasn't even a prospect, really. Like, he wasn't on any sort of list. He was a failed starter last year. He had I had no faith in him as a starting pitcher. They move him to the bullpen, and he's been unhittable. You see it there with the 44 strikeouts and 7 walks in about 42 innings. So he's averaging more than a strikeout an inning. His command has been elite. Teams can't hit him. They aren't barreling him. His barrel percentage is like 2%, under 2%. And he's locked down that 8th inning role. And, if you go back to the offseason and all the rumors about Clase, and they were shopping Clase last winter. Well, guess what? Those rumors may come back this winter because this guy could easily step in the closing role. And we've seen it before where guys who aren't good as starters, they transition to a bullpen role and they're lights out because maybe their 3-pitch, 4-pitch mix isn't good to see an order 3 times through. But if all you need is 3 outs, you can cut loose and throw harder. Your stuff plays better. And Gaddis is a perfect example of that. So he's gone from a guy who I don't think anyone had a whole lot of confidence in to now locking down the 8th inning role and really the backup closer to Clase. Yeah. So he's been elite this year.
I feel like that's not a fair answer.
Why?
Because I was going with like a young player.
He is young. He's a rookie. He pitched 40 innings prior to this year. He pitched 40 innings last year.
What about my two?
Well, here. Because Tyvis, I'm going to address yours and Jason's answer.
Here we go.
Angel Martinez has only played 7 games.
Okay.
It's been a hell of an impressive 7 games, but it's 7 games too early.
So what?
It's your opinion. I'm just telling you why he wasn't my choice.
I can't. Go ahead.
He has 8 walks drawn in 7 games. That's awesome.
Go ahead.
He's been really good.
I need to hear yours.
Jhonk, the power's there, but he's exactly what we thought we were getting in Jhonk. Mm-hmm. Home runs and strikeouts. He's been Adam Dunn 2.0 so far, which the Guardians need. That power is elite, but he hasn't been as impressive as my guy. I didn't think of Hunter Gaddis.
I didn't either.
Because I didn't consider him a true prospect.
I didn't either.
And if he was going to be considered a true prospect, that would be the right answer. No, Jason's right in theory.
No, he cheated.
But I didn't look at Gaddis as a true prospect because he was called up last year, had enough of a runway in 2023 that I didn't consider him a true prospect in 2024, which is why when I was asked this question, my answer was Kade Smith, the other rookie in the bullpen for the Guardians, who did not pitch previous to this season.
Thank you.
Is now up, was not a highly touted prospect, and his numbers are slightly below Gaddis's. But once again, Gaddis, because I didn't consider him a prospect, which we could argue back and forth whether he should or should not be.
He isn't.
Kade Smith
He's a
certainly
rookie.
is.
That makes him a
Kade
prospect.
Smith
He was here
certainly
last
is.
year.
In just under 40 innings pitched, he has 53 strikeouts. That's more than Gaddis, Jason.
It is.
Strikeout to walk record, strikeout to walk ratio better than Gaddis. ERA slightly higher, still has a whip under 1, which is incredible. This guy, if you go by just the numbers, has better numbers than 3 different relievers who were selected to the American League All-Star team, including Clay Holmes, the closer for the New York Yankees, who has a higher ERA, whip, and fewer strikeouts than Kade Smith. In my opinion, Kade Smith has blown out any expectation you could have possibly had for him prior to the season, to where he's gotten to at this point. He's a reliable arm in the bullpen. He's got an opportunity to save. He has a save on the season. He has 14 holds. And knowing what we thought of Kade Smith coming into the year as, hey, this guy throws hard, he could be fun too. When Kade Smith comes in, I have the utmost confidence he's getting you 3 outs, boom, boom, boom. To me, he has been the single most impressive prospect the Guardians have called up this year. Is that the right answer? Thank you. I know it is.
No, Gaddis is the right answer.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Why?
He played last year.
It doesn't what?
What do you mean?
He's still a rookie.
All these, the 3 that we went with is first action.
He
here.
pitched 40 innings
let's
last
ask.
year.
We have 2 neutral observers behind the glass here. And
Is a rookie
and
considered
check.
a prospect?
Is Hunter Gaddis considered a prospect?
Because he's a rookie.
He's considered a prospect. I've heard all of your answers. I all thought they was pretty solid answers, but all 3 of you were wrong.
If you say Jonathan
All 3
Rodriguez,
of y'all are wrong.
Who you about to say?
The
He's
most
gonna say
impressive
Mark
prospect
Emerson.
that we've seen so far has been Daniel Schneeman. He's done it with the bat. He's done it with the glove. My man got 3 home runs, 13 RBIs. He's batting .254. He can play shortstop. He can play second base. You know, we seen the power from him that we thought we were going to see from Kyle Manzardo. So
Yeah.
I think you're all wrong. It's Schneeman. It rhymes with Willie B.
Listen, Schneeman's been awesome.
But you know what?
You know what? I don't mind
don't
that
hate that
answer. I actually like that answer too.
But this is why they've had the success that they've had this year. Is because we can make a case for all of
5
these different
different guys, yeah.
And I had Schneeman on the list that I sent.
And do you know what's bad?
I didn't want to put him because he
No, Schneeman deserves to be in the conversation 100%.
I get it.
But
Yours is wrong.
No, it's not.
Yes,
But no,
it
do you know what's
is.
I guess on the one hand the best, but on the other hand the worst part of this? None of us consider Kyle Manzardo, right?
no.
And he is by far, of all the guys they've called up, their highest rated, most highly touted prospect, and he was the one who had the least amount of success on the major league level, which I'm not selling my stock on Manzardo long picture by any means, but these other guys have called up and had relative immediate success. Jhonk has 3 home runs in 10 games now, 11 games since he's been called up. Manzardo has 0 home runs on the majors. As soon as he got called back to the minors, he hit 4 in his next 5 games. So the power's there, but he didn't live up to the hype at the major league level when all these other guys have all made a legitimate case to be considered what you could look at as the most impressive prospect they've had a look at on the major league level yet.
Yeah, all these guys develop on their own time, and there is no set pace. We saw that with Jackson Holliday in Baltimore, a top prospect in baseball, one of the best prospects in a long time.
Last
and
10 years, yeah.
He's in that Mike Trout category in terms of prospect status, and he was terrible his first time through. It doesn't mean he's going to be a bust. It means that he just struggled with different facets that other guys don't. And who's to say that John Kenzie isn't going to hit a wall, or teams? There ain't even a book yet on. There ain't even a book yet on Angel Martinez.
He ain't.
But when the book comes out,
It ain't gonna be no book.
There is a book on Angel
It
Martinez.
ain't gonna be no book.
1, he won't swing at balls.
Yeah.
And 2, his helmet won't stay on. That is the book on Angel
is
Martinez
true.
right now.
They gonna have to glue
There's
that
still a
thing.
lot of unknown with Angel, but those 2
He
things
might
we
be
know
the
for damn
first
sure.
player that need like a strap on his stick. 'Cause that
a
thing
helmet that
fly out
fits.
every time.
helmet that fits.
Like, man.
Hey, Jason, it's funny because the broadcast said like 2 or 3 games ago, he wears the chin strap on his helmet, and the way his batting stance is, when he goes to swings the bat, his shoulder is hitting the bottom of the chin strap every single time.
I didn't
know
pick up
that.
on that.
I
Yeah.
didn't either.
No. Well, you talk about stances though. I'm really getting into hitting
The nuances of hitting.
Yes.
With AJ.
Yeah,
Yeah.
'cause your son,
because
yeah.
of my son, and we've been like full go since last October on revamping his stance and working with like professionals to help him. And the one thing I noticed with John Kenzie is the way that he coils on his back hip is exactly what you want. But he does it. He does it before his load.
Wham.
Like that's just his stance. Is he is so coiled up on that, and that's where all the power comes from. Is that back hip, and the way that first thing I point out to AJ, I'm like, look at that. He's coiled on his hip,
and it's gone
before he even loads. Like it's almost like a cheat code for power guys of how do you really like coil up. Well, that's how you do it when you first
start
get in the
like
box.
that.
You just start like that.
Is that a comfort thing as to why more players don't?
Probably.
I guess pre-coil
because it doesn't look comfortable. Like
No.
his stance, John Kenzie's stance obviously looks very different from a lot of stances that you see. But he's all loaded up and he's just coiled up on that back hip before he even loads. It's just
so AJ does.
So that's where the power comes from. We're still working on his lower half. You know who AJ's swing is exactly? Actually, is Josh Naylor. Like they are almost identical. Because we were at the game, I took the kids to the game Sunday.
So
I
he's
took my
swinging
wife
for
and
the fences,
and he sits back just like Naylor, except
Yeah.
AJ's a righty and Josh is a lefty, and it was fun for him to see it like live in person. And Josh has like a little toe tap, same as AJ, where he doesn't even really have much of a stride, and it just goes. So their stances are very similar.
Well, when me and Jay go at it, I'm gonna show AJ.
That's
needs,
coming soon.
He
by the
needs
way.
to be present because I'm gonna show AJ what you need to do to send this thing over the fence.
And what's your stance look like? Are you more John Kenzie or are you more?
I'm more like
Josh.
It's more like Ken Griffey Jr.
More. Oh my God.
We have video of his stance, so we can pull that up.
I got a question for Jason.
Shoot.
Let's say AJ was in a slump,
Yeah.
right? You write for The Athletic.
I'd
What would an
rip him.
article about
Wait, he
AJ being
what?
in a slump
I'd
look
rip him.
like?
I'd rip him.
You rip your son?
Yeah.
Do what you guys do.
I got on him. I'm like super encouraging. I don't ever like. I'm not that dad that berates kids ever. When I was a coach, like I was always just patient, encouraging, always. But I did get on him in one at bat this year because he just didn't like. It was like a 3-pitch at bat, took 2 strikes. He was just out of it, and I just said, listen. If that's the best you're going to do, then just get in the car and let's go home because you're wasting everybody's time. Like, that was a terrible at-bat, and I don't ever want to see that again. Next at-bat, boom!
Dang it.
Line drive, left field. It's like, that's more like it.
Back to the prospects real quick before we move on. They've obviously had success. We just named 5 to 6 guys who could be in the conversation.
And we could name more.
And we can name more. Mm-hmm. Come playoff time, Jason, assuming there's not some epic collapse for the Guardians, how many of these prospects, rookies, whatever you want to call them, will end up being in the lineup and guys that Vogt can count on out of the bullpen?
Obviously, Gaddis and Kade Smith are
they'll be
reliable pieces.
So that's 2.
And
Nice.
I'll stay on your original question. I think Schneeman plays.
3.
I think John Kenzie feels a little bit like Oscar Gonzalez from a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And I think that there's more baseball approach with Noel than there was with Oscar. And you need guys who can hit the ball out of the park in the postseason. So even though we haven't seen much from him, I do think
We
John
have seen
Kenzie
elite
plays.
power. That is the one thing
Yeah.
he has proven already
Yeah.
is he does have elite power.
I'm not saying these guys are going to play every game,
but
they're going to have a role.
Yep, so that's 4.
Can they DH it? Can he, like John Kenzie, DH it?
Sure.
Sure, yeah.
I think Angel Martinez is the most polished of
That's a good
everyone
way to
that
put
we've
it,
seen,
yeah.
but I don't know that we've seen enough from him to declare he's going to play in October. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Like it kind of sounds contradictory if he's the most polished, but that's not how baseball always works.
It's been 7 games. It's hard to get a full
You know
read.
what
Yeah.
he batting right now?
400.
I do think I think those guys for sure.
So 4 for sure.
Yeah, and I'm trying to like
And if you want to count Freeman, who we didn't mention.
Freeman's really sort of in a part-time role right now.
Rocchio's in that same. But we're not considering them as this class of prospects.
Yeah.
Even though they are technically.
Who got the better glove, Rocchio or Arias?
Probably Rocchio. Arias has a better arm. Arias has
He's just a
hose.
cannon.
Yeah.
Cannon.
If you're talking glove, it's probably Rocchio. But I'm so frustrated watching Gabi Arias because I just think he's the total package and he should have had this job by now. And I'm not blaming them for not giving it to him. He hasn't earned it.
You mentioned
It's sort of like the quarterback. If you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have any quarterbacks.
you have 2 shortstops.
You don't have. That's sort of where they're at.
Last point, last question on that. So you mentioned those 4: Schneeman, Noel, Smith, and Gaddis.
Yeah.
Is Manzardo back in the fold by then?
No.
No.
No, I don't think so. I don't think I would not count on Manzardo being an October contributor at this point. I mean, Naylor's going to hold down first base. Obviously, we're assuming health on
Yeah,
this,
yeah,
that
health,
everybody
exactly.
stays healthy. And I think Manzardo is the Naylor replacement. I've felt that for a while.
How many years we got a Naylor? 2?
1.
So
You got the rest of this year and next year.
They gonna trade him next year?
Find out.
I don't know.
That'd be the smart thing to do.
I don't know.
It's a good problem to have for the Guardians. Not the Naylor situation, but a plethora of young prospects who have made this strong of an impression in their debuts. Earl, what's up?